Many people function day to day seemingly oblivious to the effect death has upon them. Most would claim that they don't think about death at all. The industrial world has sterilized itself to the point where we hear about death, but rarely see it firsthand. But does this mean that we are immune to the effects of death?
When a lot of people hear about this theory for the first time, the initial reaction is, you know, I don't think about death all that much. And if I don't think about death all that much, how could death be playing such an important role in our lives?
How could it be affecting me in these powerful ways? Or how could it affect ongoing behavior when I almost never think about death? People do think about death and are reminded of death quite commonly. Any major city newspaper's got a murder story pretty much every day. If you watch the news, if you watch television, you see stories of murder and death pretty consistently. So reminders of death are actually quite common. The other point is that we do agree that we don't think about death all that much consciously in our daily lives.
You know, the essence of Freud's ideas about the nature of the psychological apparatus is that most psychological activity is quite unconscious.
We repress our concerns about death and our thoughts of death, but it's underneath. It's outside of consciousness. Now, how do you get at that? That sounds like, you know, this is sort of untestable. It's not untestable. Psychologists have recently developed technology to present material to people without their awareness that they're being exposed to the material. And we call this subliminal priming.
Utilizing this method, the terror management team, spearheaded by Jamie Arndt at the University of Missouri at Columbia, developed what they call the subliminal death prime.
We had folks come and stare at a computer screen and do what they call a lexical decision task. It's just words are flashed on a screen and people are supposed to look at them and push a button if they're similar. So if, you know, if you see like shoes and pants, those are similar items. And if you see like taco and sneaker, you know, those are dissimilar items. But really that's just an excuse to get them to look at the screen, because in between those words, very rapidly at like 21 milliseconds, are either flashed the word death or the word field, because those words have the same number of letters and the same frequency of occurrence in the English language. And in fact, when you do that, nobody knows that it's happened. That's what makes these studies amazing. If we show people afterwards, if we say, hey, we flashed some stuff that you couldn't see, here's 4 words, can you tell us which one was flashed? People cannot pick out the one that they've seen reliably. So we know that it's quite, quote, unconscious, and yet they show the same hostility towards someone who is different than themselves, and the same affection towards someone who's similar when we ask them to explicitly ponder their own demise.
Many cultures have different methods for dealing with and examining death. Exploring death denial offers just one example, but it is applicable cross-culturally. These results have been replicated in tests throughout the world, implying that fear of death is most likely a universal influence, regardless of the specifics of various cultures or customs.